Hello and welcome to HT Dialogue School Edition. Today we're going to focus on how online teaching can be used to help students develop social skills. Now we all know that there's more to schools and classrooms than simple rote learning. Social interactions, sports and informal play that accompany academics at schools are essential for child development. This is how students learn language skills, they learn empathy, it builds their confidence. They learn social responsibility because you're working as a group with others, group work, and also it feeds creativity. So these are all skills that we're going to need as we negotiate life. And today I have a very eminent panel with me. I have Dr. Samir Parikh, who is the Director of Mental Health and Behavioral Sciences at Fortis Healthcare. I have Ms. Nita Arora, who's the Principal, Sri Venkateshwar International School, Sector 18, Dwarka. Ms. Sandeepa Rai, Principal, Suncity School, Gurugram. Ms.
Good
Dimple Vij,
afternoon.
the Counsellor at Laxman Public School, Hauz Khas. And Ms. Bhawna Narang, Parent, Modern School, Kundli. So welcome to the show, and I'm going to start by inviting Dr. Samir Parikh to tell us what is the difference in physically attending a class in school and online classes. So perhaps if you can briefly talk about it for about 3 to 4 minutes, and then I'm going to invite our panelists to contribute. Dr. Parikh.
Thank you, Sanchita. The good thing is that a lot more conversations are happening on mental health. And I think that's something which is one thing as a mental health practitioner, I feel is something that is good. It's good that we are actually asking a question today about the difference between academics in the physical space of school vis-a-vis academics on the online platforms. And when we talk about these differences, they also bring to us the reality of what school education should always have had and needs to continue to have when we look at the overall well-being of a child. I mean, of course, school education involves academics. I mean, that's a fact of life. But beyond academics, what happens? You meet peers, you make friends, you learn the ups and downs of life, you learn how to compromise, how to negotiate, how to enjoy, how to support, how to find your own self, how to make lifelong relationships around which you build your life. You build relationships with teachers. The social self develops in school. The emotional self develops in school. A large part of your value system develops in school. Your physical well-being, mental well-being comes out of the school. So when you look at schooling in the context of growth and development of a child, one realizes that academics is but just one part of it. So now when we shift to an online mode, what has happened is we've just about managed to maintain academics. It's the peer interface where we are struggling because obviously kids can't go out, they are not meeting, they're not having any sports, no physical activity, can't engage. And that's the challenge that is there, which is going to be there until children come back to schools. And I also need to make a point that this is happening worldwide. There is no benchmark to this. There is no comparative to this. Neither teachers nor parents nor children have had any kind of exposure to the fact that online education could have actually happened. So there are so many issues which are happening, but I think it's remarkable the resilience of our academic system, the resilience of teachers who are, I feel, need to be celebrated like frontline workers and colleagues in healthcare, because for them to just pick it up and go ahead with online classes, even though with all the limitations, is absolutely remarkable. And the same goes for parents and children. For children, I do tell them that it's like an extended vacation, but also study a bit and ensure that you are able to have the routine. So if you ask me, why online education? For me, it's about routine, regularity, interface that can happen through the digital world, and a normalcy of life, which is what is the key, and whatever academics come, that's what I'm happy with. So that's, as far as I'm concerned, in terms of the digital education.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to invite Ms. Nita Arora to maybe talk about some of the challenges they've faced and how they're addressing them. Ms. Arora, over to you.
As far as the blended learning becoming the new normal, we as principal and teachers feel we adopted very well. We actually adapted and we grew and we became better at online technology and connecting with the parents and the children at home. Some of the parents found it as a boon because they didn't have to come physically for PTMs and they could meet the teachers, literally see the teachers every day if they wanted to. They can even interact through WhatsApp messages literally every day. So that was one plus side, that the connect between school and homes became stronger, not weaker. Now, the mood topic today is, are we developing social skills through online classes? And for that, we did an action research in which we administered 6 questions through Google Form to parents, community of teachers and students, third group. And the fourth group, we took principals, directors, and managers. And we found the satisfaction index varying. While the teachers and the parents feel that the online classes are largely successful in developing also the social skills, you'll be quite surprised. Something like 75% parents saying, yes, we are very happy that the school is doing. As Dr. Parikh said, they understood that the school has kept the child emotionally alive, somewhat little bit social interaction, but something is happening. The teachers also feel the same. But the principals are smart a lot. I got only 47% principals agreeing that we're addressing that social skills. And the children, 50% say no, social skills are not being developed because they are missing school. The second question was, what are they missing most in online classes? Again, most of them said they're missing face-to-face teaching, they're missing being away from home. But being away from home, none of the parents chose it because they feel the children love staying at home. Reality is different. There are 40% children said we are even missing this aspect of a development. They want to go out of home to other places and they're stuck. And the principals are smart. Principals realize this. In fact, principals have written that they're missing mainly the interactions with their friends. So the peer interaction is something very important for, as Sir said, Dr. Parikh, socio-emotional growth. And but the teachers feel, no, it's everything is interrelated. Feel good. Does online yoga classes, physical education, music, dance lead to, or assemblies for that matter, lead to a feel-good factor? And most of the parents had 84% said yes, it leads to feel good. 6.2 denied it. There was 9.2 did not comment. And the parents, the teachers and the principals also felt the same. But the junior children said almost 100% we love the interaction and the assemblies. 9, 10th, 11, 12 said, 20% said no, not at all, because they actually are made to study more for board. The pressure on them is more. So in children, it is varying. Even in my teachers, I found it varies. The teachers were teaching 9th grade to 12th grade. They said, no, hardly any difference. It doesn't lead to a good feel-good factor because they're not doing so much in developing social skills. Grade preschool to 8 teachers are doing amazing things. And the social skills are developing more in this age group. I think we as principals and teachers have to realize that our seniors also require that. Then should we continue with everything CCA, that is the cultural activities that we're doing online? The only thing why are we not doing them in greater detail that we would like them to do is the time factor that has been imposed on us. You'll be quite surprised. NCERT said only half an hour for 3 to 5 years age, 1 hour for this age group, 1.5 hours for the senior. That is a screen time allowed. So if you have such limited screen time and the whole syllabus also and activities and whatnot, so we have to draw a line somewhere and we cannot do as much CCA or cultural activities as we would like to do. So we extended it by half an hour, but again, we're worried about, being checked for that. But all parents, everybody said, let's continue, except for 11, 12th class said, no, we don't require them. All other children are very happy. Then we
So
asked,
can we
how can
come,
we,
sorry,
I'm
can we
concluding it.
come back to this later?
Last was, can we have student-led classes, parent-led classes, more counselor-led classes, or can we have, we are asking the solutions. You'll be quite surprised. Nobody agreed for. There are few who only said parent-led classes could be done. Principals were vehemently opposite it. Teachers also didn't want because they don't trust the parents, it seems. But I feel parent-led classes would also make the parents realize what the teachers face and how can we handle our own children at home better. So I think we got to make it voluntary. And if we allow different kind of interaction, maybe in the evenings or on Sundays, I think that would lead to, the social skills being addressed as much as academic needs.
Thank you so much. It's interesting that kids are missing school. I mean, we always thought they were looking for excuses not to attend school. So that really tells us how integral it is, schooling is in a part of a child's life. And also, what I found interesting was this whole aspect of parent led classes that you were talking about. Because, again, for a lot of parents, especially those who are working, school is a place where they send the kids to, and they don't really have the time, or they have more than one kid. They don't really, they just feel that, they're paying the fee and the school should handle that aspect of their child. So we'll come back to that later. Now I'd like to invite Miss Sandeepa Rai to maybe give her views on how is her school dealing with online education. Miss Rai, over to you.
Thank you. Well, I've heard the panelists, but what I would like to say, relevant to the topic of how online teaching can help develop social skills, it's a known fact that education is in itself a social process that helps develop social skills. And today, the online teaching or the environment of online is replete with opportunities for interaction, socialization, and collaboration. The fact is, how do we encourage this? And for that, you must know that the entire learning and teaching module has been redesigned and reprogrammed, and if I might add, re-engineered to suit this new digital community of learners. So it's not just what is being taught, but how is being taught is also a very important factor. And these include all the social skills, whether it is active listening, whether it's respectful communication and effective communication, whether it is empathy. Every aspect is beautifully grafted into the practice and process of teaching to engage and involve the learner. And you'd be surprised that right from including art and art forms, using poetry, music, painting, you have joint Google Doc forms where children comment, they put their observations, they raise their hand in a class. Every aspect that can be done to the best is in the learning and teaching process. And yes, the cameras are on. We get to see our children. We get to hear them. And even if those few who we think are not participating in the class, the teacher knows her class and students very well. The questions that are posed to them first to ensure that active learning and listening is happening together. So I would like to say that we are happy with what we are doing. And given what the new norm is all about, we're trying to make the most out of it. And when I say teaching and learning, we just don't mean that we are delivering content or transacting knowledge. It's also giving them a virtual, informal space time together where they can interact with their peers. And you'd be happy to know that even online clubs, assemblies, birthday celebrations, and jam sessions are also a part of this. So if you look at it in the positive way, what is there, if it's there to stay, we're trying to make the most of it. And I think that's where a true success comes, where we're trying to involve the children in their presentation, research skills, asking them to do what they like best and convey to us through a topic or subject. So I think this is very important, where the child's confidence is being boosted and his morale is kept high during this time. Thank you.
So does classroom size also play a role here? Because, if you have a very large class, I don't know how large the classes are in your school, because then it becomes very difficult for the teacher to interact and give the same kind of attention to every child.
Well, there are breakout rooms, if you may note, that even if you have we don't have as large as the strength that you've mentioned, but yes, even if we have 30 children in our class, we have the option of putting them into breakout rooms where they themselves are discussing and bring them back to the fore to present what the discussion is all about. So it's exactly how you manage them online that is very important. And I think nobody feels left out, because at the end of the day, the Google Doc goes flying and asks them for their comments on what they learned and what they thought was good about what they learned. So it's all about involving them positively.
Online interactions are going to be a part of our life going forward.
Absolutely. We need to accept
every aspect
that.
of our life, I should say. And now I'd like to invite Ms. Dimple Vij, if you could talk about what is the kind of emotional support that students require. What are the kind of queries that you get from them? Over to you.
Good afternoon, everyone. And before I begin, I must appreciate the initiative that has been taken by HT to provide such a platform where all the major stakeholders in a child's life, whether they are the mental health professionals or the educationists or the parent representative, are together to discuss about the challenges as well as the charms of this online teaching learning process which is happening at the present during the pandemic. As Dr. Parikh very correctly pointed out, that yes, we need to understand the scenario in which we are dealing with the present day issues, because pandemic has not left us with a choice other than going for an online teaching mode of learning. Now, when we talk about the different life skills, these are not issues like mental health and life skills, or when we talk about empathy, these are not new terms in this world. They were already there in the past too, but this pandemic has made everyone realize its relevance, its significance in today's time. Now, when we talk about the emotional needs or the social needs of every child, please, we need to remember one thing, that each child is unique and each child is different. And when every child is different and is unique, then he has his own strengths and limitations. So some children may be benefiting from this online mode right now, and maybe there are certain children who may not be benefiting to the same extent. But yes, since we are not left with any major options available for the time being, maybe once post-COVID situation arises, we might go for a blended or a hybrid kind of a learning, where we'll take in the best of both the situations and try to make the best for the children in today's time. So when I talk about the social and the emotional needs, yes, they are confined within the four walls. It's very difficult for them to interact or socialize with people around. But yes, we can still use this virtual world to the best possible, I would say, way that we can in the given scenario. So, as certain principals have already highlighted on the fact that they are conducting some kind of sessions where they are celebrating birthdays or some important days or some important occasions. Same way, even we can do that with the families. Like it could be a family time where they can also have that kind of connection with their close relatives and celebrate the important days. So, I suppose connection is important. We cannot run away from it, and we need to be aware where we can fill in the gap. In fact, certain things which are being tried out, yes, besides this, include things like study buddy system. It can be like two children, they could fix up a time separately where they can work on the assignments together. They can have a playtime also together where besides academics, they're socializing and discussing on things which are of interest to them. So we can give them opportunities, what we can make most. Again, I'm saying that pandemic has forced us to maintain physical distance, but not the social distance. So if we want, we can reach out, we can still take small steps and initiatives. Maybe it's still not 100% solution, but what we can make most out of it, let's do it right now.
It's interesting that you said it, because I've been told that, the government use of the word social distancing is a wrong term. We should talk about physical distancing, because it's really important to still be socially connected with others, whichever way it is. And it's interesting, I wanted to ask you, do you offer like group counseling or one-on-one counseling to students who need help? Do they reach out to you? How do you do it?
See, initially when this pandemic situation immediately came in and we had to change our mode of teaching, there was an article which I got it posted on the website, and where we did talk about how we are going to embrace the new normal now and what are the challenges that we are going to face. And I made my email ID as well as my contact number accessible to them. And basically, ongoing basis, we are taking up sessions with the students where we have been talking about even the virtual classroom rules. We have been talking about the mental health issues, about the life skills. And yes, we have told them that they can reach out to us through email, as well as I said, they can reach out to me even on WhatsApp. So we are there 24 hours now. And whenever they feel comfortable with,
they are doing that. They are reaching out.
Absolutely.
Okay, thank you so much. Now over to Ms. Bhawna Narang. If you could just briefly tell us how old your child is. The child goes to the modern school. in Kundli. So, and what are the kind of challenges and problems you face, and how are you helping your child deal with online learning? Over to you. You need to unmute your mic, please. I can't hear you.
Am I audible now? Yeah.
Yes,
Thank you
yes, you
so
are.
much, ma'am. First of all, as we all know that during COVID-19 pandemic, only online schooling has been only an option for the schools, and many parents were finding it stressful to deal with the hurdles because we are working also, and we have to look after our family, our children, and we have also experienced that due to this pandemic situation, the anxiety level of the students has increased tremendously because they are not getting school environment, they are not able to meet their friends, and even if I talk about my child, yes, I have seen that my child that the anxiety level has increased in my child as well, that I have noticed. And but in order to develop their social and emotional skills, I believe that all the stakeholders need to be involved in harnessing the energies of the students. I won't hesitate to say that the school are taking really tremendous efforts in collaborating the interaction among the peer group by organizing various activities like role play, inter-school, inter-house competitions, celebrations of many national and international days and festival. And but I think we as a parent, and I also try to put some efforts to reduce the anxiety level of the students by taking some concrete steps, as Dimple ma'am has also shared with me, that we can plan, that we can schedule play date even if our child is online, because it will help our child to maintain positive peer connection. And we can make video calls with our loved ones so that they will be in touch with the family and friends during social distancing. And we can be in regular touch with the school counselor. That is very important, because without their guidance, it is very difficult for us to manage as well. So and yes, as ma'am has shared the study buddy system, and we also plan some family game nights, so like bingo, ludo, so that it will help our child to foster good sportsmanship at home. Thank you.
I should actually go back for that. I haven't played Ludo since I was a kid. So it's a very good idea.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm getting loads of questions. So now I'm going to just switch to questions. I'm going to address, if they've mentioned who the questions are addressed to. Otherwise, maybe invite one of you to answer. And if you feel strongly about any subject, just raise your hand and then I'll get you next. So this one is from Dr. Savita Arora, who's the principal of Bharti Public School, Swasth Vihar. She wants to know, how can virtual socialization be used to have a positive impact on mental health? And this one is addressed to Dr. Parikh. And Dr. Parikh, I also wanted to ask you, since everyone's been talking about, and especially Ms. Narang, about, children's learning online and socializing online, parents are also concerned about the amount of online time children are, screen time that they're spending. I've lost Dr. Parikh. I hope you could hear some of that. Could you get that? Okay. So parents also concerned about this amount of screen time that kids are, on throughout these days, and there's very little you can do to. And they tell you they're doing their homework, but you don't know they may be playing some online game. So how can this virtual socialization be used to create a positive impact on mental health and development?
Sanjita, we have to be honest to ourselves and be fair on this, to our own selves. Have we done a remarkable job by shifting into online classes? Yes. Hats off to the teaching community, parent community, no doubts about it. But I don't think that means that we should allow ourselves to believe that social emotional development can happen through the digital medium by itself. Not at all. We need to accept that whenever we get the opportunity and we are out of the danger, we should be back to our original style. And like what one of my colleagues said, yes, pick up some things that we've learned from here, which we can also continue. which can help us. But the true social emotional self development is going to happen in the physical space. Let's not be forced and compelled to feel that we'll be able to substitute the real-time interaction between young people and substitute over digital interface and it'll have the same impact. No, it won't. And I'm absolutely with you on this, equally concerned that education is online and fun is online and social network is online and social media is online and news is online and your entertainment is online. So yes, there's a lot of digital interface happening, much more than what we would have otherwise wanted. Right now, in the interim, our goal needs to be mental health first. Child needs to be happy, feeling productive, connected. Once we are out of it, then we start looking at the other avenues. But yes, I would like to encourage children to involve into at least some non-digital activities, pets, plants, a bit of physical activity, board games with family interactions. Some of that also needs to be seen because the digital unplugging in the digital times is also important for mental health.
And also unplugging after all this is over, because I'm scared that people may forget how to interact with each other in real life. And the second question again is a related one. Online classes have restricted social interaction in students. How can we strike a balance between developing social skills and online learning? So I'd invite maybe Ms. Nita Arora can begin and anyone else is welcome to join in. Ms. Arora, over to you.
I would say that as far as the social emotional skills are concerned, online classes have been a boon for some category of children. Children who were, as it is, they had leadership tendencies, they have flowered like anything. They've been conducting events, they've become entrepreneurs, they've become digital supermasters, even training their own teachers. And they have done remarkably well. And then there are children who are, say, in theatre club, they've done amazing jobs. They have been directing plays, writing plays. Children who are into creative writing have also flowered like anything. And the schools have given them ample opportunities. So there are children who are, as it is, introvert. And in case, surprisingly or sadly, if the family environment is not conducive, the parents themselves are not happy with the online classes or are confined indoors, and the parents have arguments that affects the child. Otherwise, what happens in these families where there is rift, child will come to school and forget his unhappiness and become fine. But one positive side is now they've got the teachers' numbers, almost all the subject teachers as well as activity teachers' numbers. So there would be at least 2-3 teachers whom they can contact and, vent out their problems. And their teachers always receptive. Teachers tell me, even if I get a call at 10:30 from a child, I always take it. I do not know. It could be very important for the child. In fact, we've done a lot of online counseling of grandparents too, even children, and it has helped. My counselors are throughout active. The special educator is taking special classes for those children who could not understand in a group system. As far as the assembly system is concerned, it's gone change. Every day there are 8 children who participate in a class assembly. So within a week, even if your class size is 40, everybody gets a chance in a week. If the class size is less, then the number is just 6. So 6 children have to prepare for the assembly. So they're getting all those communication, collaboration skills, which is very important. Part of empathy and collaboration is the key word here, even communication, because if you cannot communicate your problems. So there has been a lot of plus there. We may not realize the plus, but at least these classes have kept it alive. If these classes were not there, I really don't think that what the children would have done. So we all are looking at the negatives. No, it's not enough. It's not enough. We have to see whether the glass is half full or half empty. I am happy with my half empty glass. At least there's something in my glass.
Yes, that's a good way of looking at it. Ms. Rai, I'd like to ask you, how do you get parents and the community and everyone on board and ensure that everyone finds a voice on online platforms?
Oh, well, I think the entire learning and education process involves all the 3 stakeholders, and nothing is possible without the share of each one of them. And when it comes to parents, I think in the lower classes, it's parents who are allowing and taking time out to ensure that the child is, loving this experience, and they are also adding their bit by way of either if it's an activity, they too are involved in getting the things for the child and to ensure it's happening. And if it's an experiment that has to happen the next day, it's again a whole family affair to get things in place and ensure that the camera and the video is clear and everybody is quiet. So in a way, ensuring that the environment at home is all conducive for that shot of the dance that is happening, or for the voice that is getting recorded, it's a complete family affair. And let me tell you, it involves the maid also, because she's been told not to ring the bell at this particular time. So it's a total family stuff. And I think each one of us are enjoying this. And we know whose time is what, and we get an alarm bell before that. Okay, it's my time now. Make sure nobody speaks louder than this. So, that is on the fun side. But yes, parents are encouraging and helping children in research work and their presentations. And the entire experience of creating a digital wow is, I think, a family partnership altogether.
Okay, I want to ask Miss Vij again a related question. Schools, classrooms, houses in schools, school uniforms, and that's what someone's asked, that they also give a child a sense of identity and belonging. So online is fairly, faceless. You're one of the many. And so I have a question from Bharti Nagpal from Senior Section Head, Ryan International School, Faridabad, who wants to know that school uniform has now lost its importance, because she's saying actually that a lot of people don't switch on videos. So they said that sense of cohesion is gone from students. So what can be done to get it back and get students to feel that they belong to a unit?
Well, I can tell you this for sure, that all the children who are there are all in uniform, whether it was summer then and it's winter now. And it all depends on the class teacher, how she makes it happen. Otherwise, they're marked absent if they're not switched on and they're not in camera, and you'll ensure 100% attendance. But yes, of course, there are children who have technical glitches and are not able to switch on their cameras. But, the teacher is smarter. She says, send me a snapshot of yourself in WhatsApp, so let me see how you look. So there's no escaping the fact that they've got to be in uniform. And yes, it is one of the online etiquettes to be in uniform and have your camera switched on. So we've got, I think, 100% success is what I should proudly say.
That's good to know.
Yes.
I think but Miss Vij, I mean, how can students still feel that? How can online teaching give a child that sense of belonging and identity?
See, as ma'am also very rightly pointed out, like it's very important, as I said, like when our online classes also began, we started off with these kind of sessions where the virtual classroom rules had to be established, and where teacher as well as the students of the class, they worked together to determine basically what would be the different rules that each one of us then has to keep in mind when they're attending the classes. So whether it's reporting on time, whether it's keeping their mics on mute, whether using appropriate language, whether dressing up properly, whether having a proper seating arrangement for when your classes are going on. So these things have to be clearly established, clearly stated, and it needs to be followed by each one of them. So in case somebody is not being able to do it due to certain personal reasons which seem to be valid, but the parents need to inform the school regarding the same, so that we do not set in a pattern like that and we do not encourage that kind of behavior. So what's important is that we actually have a kind of a schedule for the children. So when it's actually study time, it's a school time, so you have to be properly dressed up. Your arrangements, your requirements, everything should be there as per the schedule. So these kind of things have to be reinforced not only by the teachers or the school, but even by the parents. So it has to be a teamwork. It cannot be just one person. And in case if somebody is finding some kind of issues pertaining the same, they need to be addressed and discussed about. So I've realized, because see, if there is a genuine reason where the homes are very small, or there's just 1 or 2 rooms available, or where there is only one bedroom and there is one other room where the parents are also working. So there could be some genuine reasons, but they have to be addressed, talked about, and made this. The student also needs to be held responsible somewhere. Whatever maximum he or she can do in that scenario should cooperate with the parents as well as the school. So that is one thing. So a schedule, that is important. And as ma'am very again pointed out, that parents and family play a very crucial role in bringing about the change. It cannot happen just as an instruction coming from the school. So till the time we don't set in that system at home, that applies even to the parents. They also need to follow a schedule and a routine. So if we want to be good role models for them, then first of all, we need to imbibe those things. It can't be that we are still lazing around and we are expecting the child to be ready for the class and sit over there in front of the camera. So it has to be teamwork. So that
yes,
is.
I wanted to ask Ms. Narang, have you seen a change in your child's behavior, or is she? How old is your child? Number one, and have you seen any? Has the child gone quiet? Have you seen any changes in the way she socially interacts with people since the online teaching has begun?
Well, my child is in class 6 and he's 11 years old.
No, that's the age when
And
they
as
need their
ma'am
friends
just
around,
rightly
huh?
said
That's
that
when
in
they're
today's
suddenly changing and peers are so important. So
yes,
tell me how you handle
yes,
it.
yes, as ma'am has rightly said, in today's situations, parents, students, and teachers need to work in hand to develop the skills in the students. Well, with their guidance, yes, we have also put in some efforts where we can enhance the skills, we can develop the personality of our child, we can make them realize that even in this situation, that we have to work hard and we have to come out with the solution. And I have, given him time to time that support and time to time the guidance that how he can overcome with this situation. And as by I can all I've also assigned him some tasks to do, which he can, so that the mind of the child can be, it can be. He can put his mind on somewhere where he can, uh, you know, uh, give him best out of it. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Dr. Parikh. My next question is for you. It's from Jeetu Bhalla, who's TGT Social Science, St. Mark's Girls Senior Secondary School in Mirabagh. What she says is that in the past, we've had several studies that shows that too much screen time makes children lethargic, put on weight, obese. It affects their eyesight. Will online learning also lead to similar problems, which is something we touched upon earlier? This too much screen time. Where do you draw the line?
So right now, Sanchita, you can't draw a line. And the fact is that digital interface, including online and all other forms of our interface, are having an impact, and there's no denial to that. It's not good for our eyes. It's not good for our spine. It's increasingly keeping us uh, in one place. It affects our overall development. It affects your concentration, motivation, emotional self, social self. No denial to that. But at the same time, like I've been saying, it could have been nothing, which would have been not at all good for the developing children. Nothing was replaced by something, which we've been able to put it all together, rightly said, by all stakeholders. But this is not ideal. We need to fall back to the ideal by picking up something from here and continuing with that also. But no doubt about it, digital detox would be important. And before COVID, I have been encouraging young people to detox digitally because of the amount of time they were spending on smartphones, laptops, and all their social media and streaming and all that. Now, along with that, which is already continuing, all their social interaction has become digital, and education is also digital, and homework is also digital, and exam also digital, and long distance cousin conversations also digital. Put all of that in the context. So when we were talking digital detox as a need pre-COVID, of course digital detox as a need for mental health is important during and post-COVID also. But right now, I take what I'm getting because I'd rather have children occupied, connected, feeling positive, feeling happy, feeling a sense of normalcy so that they come out of this pandemic with a lot of learnings that, in spite of an unprecedented stress that mankind experienced, we did come out of it, and because we all fought together. And I think that's inspiring, and I'd much rather have children take this inspiration forward.
Does anyone want to
Sanchita,
ask?
you'd like to note, sorry, Sanchita, you'd like to note that we also have a digital detox day off for the children.
Okay, so that's the usual Sunday off. You've just given it a fancy.
No, a working day marked off maybe post-examination, but it's now being called, the detox
It's
day
also a
off. Yeah,
reminder. If
digital
you use
detox.
the term, it's also a reminder for children and parents to kind of
Yes, that to stay off.
that yeah, they need to.
If I can add here, even when we are as as a family together, like when we are having our meals together, like we can have certain moments of the day when we can actually keep our gadgets to the side, when we are actually engaging in some family time where we are watching some movie, or maybe even just having an interaction as to what we've done throughout the day and how did the day go by, because communication channel needs to be open. And if we intentionally look at ways where we can pursue certain hobbies, as was mentioning about gardening, about playing with a pet, or doing certain things which are of interest, that's something which does not involve your gadget, but you really enjoy the time by being by yourself, why not look into those activities? And
Sure.
I humble request again, because we come back to the same thing where parents are going to be the role models in today's time. Children are spending maximum time with them. So if they themselves will be totally immersed in those gadgets, it's going to be very tough to ask the students to keep them gadgets away. So somewhere when you're having your meals or when you're spending some just time together, make it very a ground rule for everyone in the house that we won't have our gadgets with us. So if we can start with
Sanchita,
Yeah, Miss
Dimple, I
Arora.
agree with you. I would like to ask people to look at the other side of the coin. One, parents always wanted to enter the classes to see how my child is learning, how are the teachers teaching. And they have a beautiful opportunity to understand how the teachers are faring, how my child is learning, is my child interacting. Initially, there were some issues where the parents would force a child, tu bol, beech mein bol, tu answer de, tu kyun nahi de raha? But now they've become confident, they've understood that the child will get a turn, but it has to be other children also, not my child always first. Second beautiful thing that has happened is grannies and parents have gone back to learning the school curriculum again. Beautiful. I've seen so many grannies joining the young ones and interacting in classes, and we don't say no to them. It's beautiful. They're relearning everything, and that will help. Third is our country is becoming technologically better. It's so lovely to see everybody being able to handle devices. Fourth, were we not taking our children for watching movies or showing them at home? Were we not keeping them engaged for 3 hours in front of a stupid TV or watching all those soaps and serials? The parents were doing it. The children were sitting there. We were watching cricket matches for the whole day. What is so big deal about 2 hours of screen time? I don't think it will hurt the children if they know how to eat well, exercise well. Fourth thing, if you do not like screen time and you're worried about the effect on the children, somebody said board game. Mere ghar mein I play Ludo every day. I do Sudoku every day. I read every day. So there's so many non-digital things that I'm doing, and I'm sure children can find better things. There were games, Plano and other things that the children can play. Rather than earlier also, parents used to complain to us, my child is playing PUBG and other games. Now PUBG has been taken off. Good. So they're having online classes. Finland, people would say if the child could not go to school, the school would go to the child, and India is doing the same. The schools have gone to kids. I think it is to be celebrated. The teaching community are truly corona warriors. Let's celebrate them. And nobody should say online classes are bad. I think they have filled in the gap so beautifully. They made us better. You know what will happen now? Next time when Delhi has pollution offs, classes would go on because we've understood digital. Whenever
No, I don't think anyone, I think there's no argument. No one's saying online
No,
teaching
what I
is
mean is
bad.
social
We're
interaction
saying,
is
how can the
continuing. This
social
only thing is
aspect
not
also be
enough because there's no playmate. You're not physically playing games. You're not talking. You're not gossiping. As far as children are concerned, they're constantly gossiping. Look at their chats. If you can have the screensaver broken somehow, they are constantly chatting. They already have their best friends. Now they also got teachers in their friends group. I have got so many teachers telling me that the children have sent them requests on their Insta accounts or a Facebook account, and now the teachers are actually dealing with the children. They know what they're doing online. In fact, so many of my children who were into unnecessary gaming have now become cured. They've got something better to do on their digital device. So there are plus
let's
sides. Yes, there is
run away
natural,
with
and we
it.
all have to be positive. We cannot change it. So let's adopt it and
no,
find the best
the
way.
discussion is on how to make it even better. We know it's doing
Yes,
damn
it
well,
can
but
be
we want to
better
know how
if you
to
use
make
it
it.
well.
Yeah.
If you enjoy those classes, the day you say nahi bekar hoti online classes, bच्चे को भी लगेंगी. If you say, no, it doesn't lead to any social interaction, बच्चों को लगना शुरू हो जाएगा. Believe me, there is so much social interaction in each class that happens, whether it's music, dance, or academics too.
Miss Vij, you wanted to add something?
I would just like
Okay.
to say that because even we look at the situation which existed before COVID or before the pandemic, let's be honest about it, the children were spending a lot of time on the gadgets. In fact, they are the digital natives. They
Okay,
are
the fear is The fear
digital.
is that this is going to add to that time. So, because they were
Absolutely.
anyway spending so much time on it.
Online, the present scenario, the best possible solution that we have right now is to go on with these online classes. But we all are learning in this process, and maybe post COVID there will be another change that we have to be ready with, as we said, some kind of hybrid or the best possible of both the worlds has to be taken into consideration, and the curriculum and the designing of the entire year's calendar has to be done accordingly. So let's hope it's accept the fact that change is teaching us a lot, and that's the only constant that we have. We all are learning. We all are sailing in a similar boat, but we will emerge as winners and come with better solutions with time.
Sanchita, there are two principals here and one counselor, and Dr. Parikh is here. How many cases have been referred to us during this COVID time for counseling needs? Believe me, in regular school, I used to keep getting behavioral issues more. They're lesser now because the parents are keeping a watch on their kids. Kids have understood the family values and life skills also they're learning. Many kids have gone into teaching, cleaning, taking care of the family. There are some who are not doing it, but children have learned life skills. And Dr. Parikh might be getting many calls, but as a
No, no.
principal,
So
my number
I'm
of
going to
cases have come down.
I'm going to bring
Dr.
the only
Parikh.
parent. I'm going to bring the only parent into the discussion.
No, Bhavna
And
too.
ask Miss Narang, how has it changed? Has it added to her, the amount of time she has to spend with her child on the child's education? Are you working harder now since online classes than you were before?
Yes, of course, we have to run after our child all the time. Because we have to, remind him now you have a class, just go and get ready for that. And ma'am has rightly said, yes, of course, they are spending so much time on gadgets also. And sometimes it's very difficult, it becomes very difficult for us also to manage. And then we always think what to do, how to we usually discuss the matter with the husband, with the family members, like how we can बच्चों कैसे हटा सकते हैं इस चीज से कैसे how can we divert their mind from this. And then I remember that when my child also used to play PUBG, so I was completely fed up with this, and then I called the counselor of the school. Yeah, now you give me the solution. And I really don't know. I really appreciate the way the counselor work in the school. I really don't know that when she talked to him and what she said to him, and after that, my child himself deleted PUBG.
That's really quite impressive. I
Yes.
want to ask Miss Rai now. I've got a question from a teacher who says, Seema Malik, Holy Child Public School, Sector 29, Faridabad, who wants to know what can be done to make online teaching more, she uses the word comfortable, but I'd also like to say more fun for teachers, because they are people you're forgetting. We're just talking about students. So, Miss Rai, your
Okay. Well, online teaching, I think when a teacher is involved in engaging her children, there's a lot of fun that goes into thinking, experimenting, and exploring what can be new for my children. For example, myself as a teacher, I think what made me very happy was when I had to teach a poem called The Voice of the Rain. I thought of a song that dates back to my childhood, and it goes like, I love a rainy night. And that's the moment I quickly got that on YouTube and ensured that before my class started, I had them hearing that. And that too with their eyes closed. And after setting context to what I was teaching, and then I finally, open to what we are going to now learn, and how, and many forms of rain through whichever ways I thought would make a beautiful digital impact on them, right from also life on land, the SDGs that are incorporated. I think fun for a teacher is when she is able to bring about that newness into her learning and teaching process every day. And if you're talking about real fun in teaching, I think when you have those smiling faces giving you suggestions and observations on your GIF, I think that's my fun moment. And if I am having a circle time and they've asked me to help them on some particular aspect that probably they weren't clear about, that again is my fun time, because how I explain to them in a short span of time to make that a memory for them to remember lifelong is my fun time. So teaching in itself should never be thought of to be as a one-sided transaction. It it has to include all facts of humor. And I think this fun element through Kahoot quizzes or where the gamification, you are the master of your class. How you want your class to unfurl is totally on how you engineer it. And these fun, as in fun with children, you can bring about fun moments every day, every moment in your class. So there's no
That's
holding
interesting
you
what
back.
you said. It's very interesting what you said. It's almost like teachers have been given a whiteboard, and
Absolutely.
there's no
Yes.
I mean, there's a curriculum, of course, but then you can use it's a new tool and you can use it any which way. Which brings me to Dr.
Absolutely.
Parikh. Again, a question from Sumitra Jain, Surat School, Gurugram, who wants to know what are the factors that can help enhance learning on online platforms. And another question from Niti Thaplial, Masonic Public School, Vasant Kunj, who says, "How can I prepare students uh, for the real world through online learning?" They're related, so I asked you, Dr. Parikh.
So, like I've been saying, it's important to look at something in a complete manner. There are positives, there are negatives. You shut your eyes to negatives or you shut your eyes to positives, both harm your understanding, and that's not what helps. Right now, the best case scenario is what we are doing, which means we're doing online classes. If they weren't have been there, large part of the school education would not have happened. At the same time, in a diverse country like ours, we have major challenges where lots of children are not able to be a part of it. Is something we understand. What we need to do is we need to still help children take their breaks. We still ensure that non-digital interface is encouraged. Like I said earlier, digital interface was more pre-COVID in any case. So to say that digital interface would have reduced during COVID is completely out of line. But at the same time, this is the best that we could have done. Right now, our goal needs to be what? As a parent, as a teacher, as an observer, what is your goal? Child should be happy. Child should be feeling productive. Child should be feeling stimulation. Child should have social connectedness, routine, regularity, some physical and mental related fun, family time. You mix this. With the limitations of time, you mix this. That's what you do. You don't over push, you don't nag, you don't make it more difficult. At the same time, you understand, like what some of the principals here are saying. We're all learning. None of us knows what is the exact right way to go about it. At the same time, accept the fact that parents who are working from home are also having their own concerns. Teachers who've been suddenly shifted to online classes have their own concerns. Children, teenagers are having their own concerns. We need to prioritize mental wellness, mental well-being, because we are well looking on the edge here, standing on the edge, where what is going to happen during the last few weeks or months of COVID, as COVID goes, what kind of mental health support systems would be entire society need is also important. And that's where our sense of collectivism, responsibility, role models, positivity, and like I said, inspirations from COVID. COVID has allowed mankind to learn a lot. Too many learnings. That's the teaching opportunities we need to use. Parents and teachers, what did COVID teach us? Minimalistic living, altruism, adaptability, positivity, frontline workers' role. I mean, just look at the inspiration around us. So use these as teaching moments, both as teachers and parents, and instill that positivity in children.
I think case studies makes for a very interesting real time. You're exposing them to what is there outside their digital classrooms, and that is one of the most powerful tools to create the connect between what is being taught and relating it to something that is happening around the world. And you have the along with your button on the platform for digital teaching, you also have the Google for you, so you can actually show them a case study. If you're teaching poverty, you can actually take them to a place where it's happening, or the migration of workers during COVID, the sufferings. Everything is there for you to connect them to the real world, and that's how we bring it and incorporate it in our content and module, is what is on the part of the teacher to do.
No, I think that's a very interesting point, because it also helps explain to children what is happening around them, because like it's something which has never happened before in our lifetime, and hopefully should not happen again. So it also helps children understand and kind of deal with situations which are very new, not just to them but to people around them as well. Because like someone mentioned at the start of this discussion, that what happens at home, you have parents who've lost jobs, you've had parents who've had pay cuts, so children are also suddenly witnessing a lot of insecurity around them, which also changes their perception of the world. And I think it's very important to kind of use real life examples, like you said, and reinforce these lessons for them as we go along in online classes. Now I have a question from Maitrey, Delhi Public School, Vasant Kunj, who wants to know, how can children be made more receptive and accepting of other people's beliefs? You know, because also I find now that especially in social media, you kind of you end up being trapped. And Dr. Parikh is smiling because we've talked about it before. Very often children end up trapped in echo chambers. You just talk to people who agree with you. You go to, you know, groups that are discussing the same thing. So it's making us very black and white, and it's very important at, you know, early stage of life when we need to recognize the different shades of gray, and realize that, you know, there's the complexity of life and everything doesn't happen the way it should. And so it also, it's a coping mechanism which children need later in life. So Dr. Parikh, over to you. How can we make children more receptive and accepting of other people?
Media literacy couldn't have been more relevant than in COVID times. We've been talking about, Sanjita, you and I have done stories over the past so many years where we've been talking about how children need to be made media literate. Why? What am I seeing? Is it true? Is it false? Is it partly true, partly incorrect? Where is the source? Is it an advertisement? Who's paying for it? Why is it reaching me? Is it forcing me into a decision making? Is it telling me a lifestyle uh, suggestion? All of these are media literacy components. In today's time, when digital interface is the key interface for everybody, media literacy becomes a lot more important. I would insist all schools to have media literacy as a part of their conversations, and parents also to understand what media literacy is, because it's one fake news, one faulty information that can start a whole churning of conversation and create belief systems, behaviors, attitudes which are completely maladaptive and dysfunctional. And I think the only way forward, Sanchit, on this is valuing media literacy actually.
No, that's very true, because education is about asking the right questions. I remember when I started out in journalism many years ago, and one of my senior editors said that, you know, I judge a journalist by the questions they ask. And I think that really holds true for anything, because we need to constantly ask why something is happening, what is causing it, and how should we deal with it. And I think again it becomes very important in a classroom setting, in an online setting, that children be encouraged to ask and question to better understand the scenario around them. So, some of these questions we've dealt before. I've got a question on how online teaching can enhance learners' engagement. But interesting question from Richa Sharma again from Chabildas Public School, Patel Nagar, who says, how can you use online teaching to deal with, you know, learners of different levels, because you have all kinds of children whose learning milestones are different. So again, does online teaching actually help a teacher address their concerns, or do they need to have, you know, extra classes or parallel classes with students who are not who may need extra support in learning? Anyone, please feel free to answer.
Yes, I think children who had issues should be made to attend a regular class, but at the same time given extra time by teacher or a set of teachers or a special educator in evening as per a convenient time. I have a parent who's a nurse. So her child cannot attend classes in the morning. So for her child, we have arranged classes in the afternoon and in evening as per her duty hours. And my teacher has very, very willingly agreed to take it. We also have a spatial education group where we analyze the result of the quizzes that we keep taking subject wise. And accordingly, we found out that some kids who are not attentive in classroom or they've not understood the concept. Believe me, my children are fairly honest. I get honest results. Parents invigilate for us. And with the result, we have found in all the 5 sections of grade 3, say 15 children in this subject, 10 in this subject. So we organize classes, but we don't force them. So out of say 15, 8 would attend on a given day, 7 would attend. but those who are attending are making use of it. Then not only it's about academic achievement level, it is also the way the children learn. Some children learn more when you make it song and dance. Some children learn when you make experiential learning, hands-on learning. So we try to adopt all possible things in classroom too. We made sure that the kids, science kits and maths kits reach home. So we held a face-to-face PTM where these kits were handed over to the parents. And now online learning is much better. The read alouds are really adding to the sessions that we say communication skills. Another thing that we are going to experiment how to, you asked me how to increase social skills. One would be talk by counselors. Second would be teacher-led story sessions, student-led talk shows, student-led classes. If you say 4 children to teach this topic tomorrow, believe me, the kind of preparation they would do it, because they've all got textbooks now, so it doesn't require online preparation. And these 4 children take the class, the teachers also get that time to observe and relax, and the children would teach better. Believe me, I've seen it in my own school that the children prepare better PPTs than the teachers. They come prepared, they use a lot of hands-on activities to explain a concept, and this is what we need to utilize. Our children are our biggest resources. Please make use of this resource. Don't think them as recipients. Another thing, Bhawna ma'am, your child was initially into too much of a digital thing because a grade 6 child was suddenly given a smartphone of his own. The newness of the device. Oh, he would just love it. And he would experiment. He would like to know more about it. So believe me, this will bear off and he'll be fine.
Thank you,
That's
ma'am.
so interesting. I remember the debate I had on when to get a smartphone for my child. But anyway, but thank you so much. This was a very interesting session, and like you said, children are our greatest resources. I think our teachers and our principals and our schools are also great resources because really you are building the citizens of tomorrow. And thank you all, and thank you, Dr. Parikh, for being with us.
Thank you for such a lovely statement.
Thank
Oh,
you. It was a
I
wonderful session.
love
fun
this
session. I enjoyed it.
dialogue. HT, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.